Welcome to the debate. When you think about a 40-pound backpack,
Yeah,
the weight is exactly the same no matter who carries it.
right.
But if you put that backpack on a defensive lineman,
He doesn't even feel it.
right, he barely notices it. But if you put it on a marathon runner, it completely changes their entire stride.
Oh, absolutely. The absolute weight doesn't change, but the structural impact is completely different depending on the physical capacity of the person carrying it.
Exactly. And, when we look at the reality of administrative burdens in modern policing, that 40-pound backpack is documentation.
Right.
Because the overwhelming majority of local police departments, they have fewer than 50 sworn officers.
Wow.
And actually, nearly half have fewer than 10,
That's just crazy.
right? But they face the exact same reporting demands as a major city. So that bottleneck just completely crushes their operational capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So I look at this data, and to me it proves that automated AI drafting tools, like Clavoric, they're an absolute necessity. It's a lifeline to get that scarce human capacity back on the street where it belongs.
Well, I hear the appeal of a quick fix, but I think you're looking at the time savings in a vacuum.
Okay.
Because handing that drafting process over to an algorithm, it introduces a massive legal liability. And these under-resourced departments, they simply do not have the infrastructure to safely manage it.
Well, let's talk about what we call the sophistication paradox, because I really think it changes the math here.
Okay, lay it out.
So conventional logic says, advanced tech is strictly for massive, well-funded agencies.
Right.
But small departments actually stand to gain way more per officer. Like in a 500-officer department, the paperwork burden is spread out.
Sure.
But in a 10-officer department, if one officer is sitting behind a desk for 45 minutes wrestling with a complex incident report,
Yeah.
you have just sidelined a massive, meaningful percentage of your entire active patrol force.
Well, I don't disagree that a sidelined officer is a critical problem for a small town. But, if an agency is already too understaffed to write its own reports, how on earth do they have the bandwidth to safely review, audit, and correct an AI drafting system?
Well,
You're essentially trading a physical capacity problem for an automated data governance problem.
I see why you think that, but let me give you a different perspective.
Okay.
We shouldn't view this as an IT problem. We need to view it as a patrol deficit problem. Like, look at the pure resource allocation.
Right.
If an AI tool saves 30 minutes per report in a major metropolis, the agency just clears its queues slightly faster.
It's a drop in the bucket.
Exactly. It's a marginal gain. But multiply that 30 minutes across a handful of officers in a rural department, and you are literally keeping police in the community.
Yeah, but
So denying small agencies this tech is effectively denying communities their police presence. That structural advantage is undeniable.
that advantage only exists on paper because it assumes the 30 minutes saved is 30 minutes of pure, unencumbered patrol time.
Well, isn't it?
No, because a small town officer isn't just patrolling. They are handling the initial 911 response, conducting the follow-up investigation, applying for the warrant, and processing the evidence all at once.
Sure, they wear a lot of hats.
Exactly. So the cognitive load of rigorously auditing an AI system just gets piled onto an already exhausted officer.
But wait, isn't the cognitive load of checking an AI's work explicitly designed to be lower than staring at a blank screen and typing from scratch?
Well,
I mean, that's the whole point of the human-in-the-loop model, right?
Yeah.
Platforms like Clavoric don't ask the officer to be a programmer.
sure, but
The officer simply inputs the raw facts, times, locations, key actions. The technology does the heavy lifting of narrative structuring,
right.
taking those bullet points and turning them into a cohesive legal document. And the human just reviews and signs off. That offloads the friction while protecting the document's legal defensibility.
I'm sorry, but I just don't buy that.
No.
Let me tell you why. You are picturing a calm, focused review process in a quiet office.
Well, in theory, yes.
But the reality? That officer is at hour 11 of a shift, dispatch is holding 3 pending calls, and they just want to clear the screen.
Yeah, that happens.
Human-in-the-loop review in that environment quickly devolves into blindly clicking approve.
Okay.
If the AI hallucinates a detail, say, incorrectly mapping a witness statement to a suspect, and the officer misses it, that document goes to court. The integrity of the case is completely compromised.
Okay, I'll concede that an overwhelmed officer might just click approve to clear the screen. That is a genuine risk.
It's a huge risk.
But let's be fair about the alternative. Isn't the risk of human error just as high, if not higher, when that exact same exhausted officer is manually typing a narrative from scratch at 3 in the morning?
I mean,
At least the AI ensures the penal codes are formatted correctly and the basic sequence of events holds together. It mitigates the physical and mental fatigue.
it might mitigate typing fatigue, but it introduces a systemic governance risk that small agencies just can't handle.
How so?
When we talk about automated data governance in a massive agency, we're talking about dedicated IT teams managing software updates, auditing the system when laws change, ensuring the algorithm isn't pulling bad data.
Right.
A 10-person department doesn't have an IT division. They have a patrol sergeant who happens to be good with computers.
Yeah, the guy who fixes the printer.
Exactly. You are expecting enterprise-level oversight from a department with literally no structural scaffolding.
See, I'm not convinced by that line of reasoning, because it misinterprets where the software industry is heading.
How so?
The entire purpose of these specific platforms is to reduce the need for specialized administrative divisions, not to demand more of them.
Okay, but
The compliance updates, the guardrails, the data security, that scaffolding is increasingly built into the software as a service.
right, but
So we shouldn't be asking if a small town can afford a massive IT department to manage AI. We should be asking, where can a carefully governed tool replace the dangerous status quo of pulling our only 2 officers off the street just to type?
the software vendor can promise all the built-in guardrails they want, but in a court of law, it is the agency holding the bag.
True.
If the agency lacks the internal resources to independently verify that the tool is functioning correctly, that outsized operational advantage is just a mirage covering a legal trap.
Look, I think we both clearly see that the playing field between massive precincts and rural departments is entirely broken.
Oh, 100%.
Small agencies are crushed by modern documentation demands, and they desperately need a way to get officers back on patrol. So to me, the disproportionate return on time that AI offers is worth navigating the friction of adoption.
Right. And while I absolutely agree they desperately need relief, my warning remains. Replacing a patrol deficit with a legal and infrastructure deficit isn't a true solution.
Yeah.
The lack of structural support in small agencies makes relying on algorithms to draft legally binding documents a very real vulnerability.
Well, it is a massive challenge integrating this level of technology into spaces that just don't have that administrative scaffolding.
Definitely.
And the material we're looking at gives us a lot more to explore, especially when it comes to how specific training protocols and implementation checklists might actually bridge this divide in the future.
Absolutely. There are a lot of alternative frameworks to consider.
Right, because when we look back at that 40-pound backpack of paperwork we started with, the question isn't whether it needs to be carried, the question is whether we're going to keep asking the marathon runner to carry it alone.